All right, this is our Battles of the Texas Revolution. All of our notes are going to be bulleted today. You can write them all as sentences, whatever's going to work best for you. Make sure that you get everything written down as we always do. The first battle that we're going to talk about is the Battle of Gonzales. This is going to be a battle that was fought on October 2nd, 1835. The citizens of the city of Gonzales would not give up the cannon that was given to them by the Mexican government to protect them from the American Indians. A militia, which is a volunteer army led by J.H. Moore, flew a flag over the cannon which said, "Come and take it." This flag right here. You're going to see it a lot of times in Texas. A lot of Texans like to fly it. Lieutenant Francisco Castaneda led 100 men to Gonzales to take the cannon. The militia fired a cannon on October 2nd at the Mexican soldiers, and a battle began. So did the revolution. They were never able to take that cannon, and the flag still flew even at the end of the war. The next one is an event that happened during the Battle of the Alamo, and we're just going to talk about it first before we move on to the Alamo. William Travis's letter to the people of Texas and all Americans in the world. Travis wrote this letter to recruit men to help him and his men at the Alamo after Santa Anna showed up in San Antonio, February 23rd, 1835. Now, this is an exact copy of the letter. You can go through here and read it. And it would probably be pretty good so that way you can have it for part of your activity afterwards. But you need to know that he wrote this letter to recruit people. The next one is the events of the Battle of the Alamo. The Siege of the Alamo, which is from our vocab yesterday. Siege is where they surround a fort and cut it off from all supplies. And then the battle cry that came in after this was "Remember the Alamo." General Sam Houston is going to order the Alamo to be destroyed. Bowie and James Neal, are going to decide that the Alamo is too important. James Bowie and William B. Travis begin to recruit supporters. Santa Anna arrives in San Antonio in February 23rd. The Texans are going to move to the Alamo and fight the Mexicans for 13 days. The Alamo is going to fall on March 6, 1836. Overall, there were 1,800 Mexican troops against about 189 Texans. At the end of the battle, all 189 Texans were killed, and approximately 600 soldiers were killed. So we're going to have all those people that we researched for the most part the last couple of days. A lot of them did fight in the Alamo at one point or another, and every person who was found there at the end was killed. So it did not turn out real well. We'll watch some video clips from a movie about the Alamo in the next couple of days. Now, while this was going on, there was a Constitutional Convention of 1836, where Texas delegates, or people that are representatives, met at Washington on the Brazos. Now, this is about where old Mr. Sledge is from in Bryan College Station, about an hour south of there. Officially declared independence from Mexico on March 2nd, 1836. 4 days before the Alamo actually ended up falling completely. They wrote a constitution to form an ad interim government, or a temporary government, for the Republic of Texas. Now, later on, after the Alamo, we have this event of James Fannin. And James Fannin surrendered his 300 men at the Battle of Coleto because he was pinned down on open prairie. So it was a big flat open field, and there was nobody there there was no way for them to protect themselves. So he said, "I'm going to surrender because it's better to do that and live as a POW versus going through and everybody being massacred." So Fannin did not want to lose any more men. They were captured and marched to Goliad, and General Urrea told them that they were safe and would not be killed. However, Santa Anna wanted to make an example of these people, and he had them all executed for treason. So all 300 men were killed. So that's two major battles that Santa Anna was a part of, and two major battles where he killed every single person. It's going to really bring into the picture that a lot of people wanted Santa Anna to fall, and so they're going to come in ready to fight. And speaking of that, that leads us to our next event. And our next event is the Battle of San Jacinto. This happened April 21st, 1836. This is the shortest battle in recorded history. Now, there are probably some shorter ones, but we don't know a whole lot about them. Sam Houston with 800 men, and Santa Anna had 1,300 men. So the Mexican army was still a lot bigger than the Texan army. Houston is going to burn every way out of out of San Jacinto and attacked the Mexican army about 3 o'clock, while many of them were napping and eating an afternoon snack. So they were kind of relaxing, and then all of a sudden, here comes the Texan army. Overall, the battle's going to last 18 minutes. It's a very short class. You could have 2.5 class periods of our class before to give you how short of time that was. And Santa Anna is going to escape, but he's going to be captured later on the next day and officially surrendered to Sam Houston. The famous story is he was hiding with all of the regular soldiers and put on a regular soldier uniform, and he was brought in, and he was trying to play it off. But then everybody started going, El Presidente, El Presidente, and he ended up having to admit who he was. The guy laying down on the mat over here on the picture is Sam Houston. He actually got shot in the foot during the battle. So finish up your notes and then pay attention to getting our I learned statement done.